Electric cars have a really bad depreciation value. I've been noticing this a lot with Nissan Leafs. Let's go to Craigslist. This is my favorite way of finding vehicles. And if you enter Nissan Leaf, and I'm in the DC area, which could be a little bit of a different market than you are right now. But Nissan Leafs, and I like to search owners, they do not hold their value at all. And I've seen several Nissan Leafs for under $5,000. Currently, there's only a few here. For example, there's this one for $5,430. It's in Baltimore. Not a lot of information. It's a 2015, $5,400. And usually when there's something like for $5,000, they'll knock it down a little bit. But it's incredible to be able to get a 2015 Leaf, an electric car, for this price. It just blows my mind. And it's a 2015 Nissan Leaf, AC electric motor, 24 kilowatt battery pack. It's got the charger, blah, blah, blah. It does not say the miles, so I wonder if this one just got like high miles. But high miles for an electric car, it's kind of like when I look for a motorcycle. High miles for an electric car is like 50,000. On a motorcycle, if I see 50,000, that's high miles. Let's look at another Leaf. $6,500, 2012. So this one is pretty close to me. This one's got 66,000. That's a lot for an electric car. I think you're going to hear this quite often with electric cars. When they have high mileage, you're going to hear that is a lot for an electric car, because we're so used to the ICE engines, internal combustion engines, and with Honda and Toyota, you're able to put 200,000 miles easily on a car. And now we are kind of like seeing these 2012 Leafs hit the market, and they barely have any range left. It's I think I read a little bit about this one. You know, it says, to be honest, with a 6-year-old battery, you'll get around 50-ish miles with not so much highways, 40-ish miles with some highways. You know, this is probably on the side of caution. I bet it gets like 30 miles or something like that. So these batteries have degraded quite a bit. Something that I worry about, because I was kind of looking into getting a Leaf one day in the used market. I will never buy anything new. So I'm looking at electric cars because they've come down so much in price, and it reminds me of computers. 35,000. This seems to be a bargain for a Tesla, but these cars are not selling. It's incredible. Only 74,000 miles, but that is a lot for an electric car. 2013. I always like it when people give nicknames to their car. Look at this, it's impeccable. And this car was what, like 80, 90,000 when it was new, and just a few years later, it only costs this much. Let's look at owner vehicles. Also keep in mind, when you're selling a car used, it's very difficult for somebody to come up with even $35,000 in cash. I know a lot of people have it, but it'll take a while to sell. The higher price a vehicle is, the more time it takes to sell. 62,000 for this Tesla Model S. This Bolt. This Bolt has been here for months, and it's a $37,000 car with only 25,000 miles, and it's at 28,000. It's a bargain, but nobody's buying it. People are afraid of these electric cars. It's hard to understand, and I think the Bolt it's not like the Nissan Leaf. The Nissan Leaf, you can get it for a couple of thousand. Model S for $39,000. Status rebuilt. So that always gets hit. This is another car that just gets completely hit with the resale value. BMWs are terrible for holding their value. I have no idea why people like BMWs. If you do, that's great for you, but like they do not hold their value at all. And the i3, same thing, like just completely one of the worst cars for holding their resale. I don't know much about them, but this one doesn't say the mileage, but it's a cool looking car. I like it. I would buy it. On average, you can get one of these at a dealer for like $15,000 in the DC metro area. Used, of course, but why would anybody buy it new? 21,000, 19, and these are all dealers, so you know that they're going to come down in price. But these things are lingering around quite a bit. So let's look at this one. I don't know how much they want for it, but this is going to be a $15,000 car. I just know it. 16,000 miles, and it's incredible. You can pretty much get an electric car for $15,000, a BMW. So if you're into brand names, that's a good. So let's go back to Facebook and look at the Nissan Leafs. 8,000. Here's one for 5,000 with only 41,000 miles. Look at that cockpit. It looks really cool. And people really like them, except and this is a 2011, so you practically have to push this damn thing. Battery is somewhere. All of these Nissan Leafs have battery problems, so you really have to avoid these things. But they're cool looking. I like them. I like that they look like little frogs. Sparks. You need to avoid the sparks. But the EV, I'm kind of like researching it, and it seems like a great deal. They're much more efficient than any other electric car that I found. So Tesla. Sometimes this is very difficult to use. Oh, you know what I did with the EV? Spark EV. Here we go. Spark EV, $9,800 at a dealership. Man, that's a great value. I don't know much about these, but that seems to be a great value for a full-on electric car. Here's another one for $10,000. So it seems Leafs you can get for $6,000. Spark EVs you can get for $10,000. BMW i3s you can get for $15,000. Here's another $9,000. It just blows my mind how much an electric car costs in 2019. It's just incredible. Let's go back to the Teslas. 35,000. 73. Okay, somebody's dreaming. Yeah, it's a 2018, so 43,000. I think the part even with the Teslas that surprises me is that it's not an old car, 2015, and it's already at 37,000 miles with only 39,000 miles. It's just incredible how much the price has gone down on electric cars. So if you're thinking about getting an electric car, now is the time to buy a very good, cheap, used electric car. It really makes perfect sense to buy it in the used market. Of course, you have to kind of be careful, but you have to be careful with every car that you buy online. People sometimes can be dishonest, but electric cars, from everything that I've read, are much more reliable and durable than internal combustion engines, mainly because they're very simple. So if you're looking for that sort of thing, I would probably recommend the BMW i3 and the Spark EV over the Leaf. And if you can afford to shell out $35,000 for a Model S from Tesla, that's probably the car I would go with.